bore 7 of us, and she cared for 2. And we were able to care for her. And it was a pleasure and an honor. Thank you for coming.
James W. Donaghy, named for my grandfather. And my granny, she taught me how to play piano. Her and Uncle Rod taught me how to play piano. The first song that she taught me was from the movie Chariots of Fire. And there's a line in that movie where the main character, he's a runner, and they ask him, "Why do you run?" He says, "Because when I run, I feel God's pleasure." And I was reminded of that a couple weeks ago when I sat with Granny. And when life comes close to the end, and you cut through all the stuff that doesn't matter, and you get to the stuff that really matters, the things that brought her joy was the people in her life that loved her and that loved Jesus. That's what gave her joy. That's when she felt God's pleasure.
I just want to kind of uplift this a little bit. Back in the mid-'80s, Christine and I had moved back from Oregon, and I needed to go back and get a couple horses. So Christine could not go. So Granny said, "Well, I'll go with you." And the Sunday before, I went out to Christine and I went over to the 4-H chicken coop. And unfortunately at that time, I was hungry and took a big old bite and with a nice big old incision in my tongue. And so that started some problems. I needed to go to Oregon the next Friday. Well, so I went in, got it sewed up, and that Friday we took off. Granny and I with the horse trailer. We got there about 4 a.m. and just before we got to Oregon, the stitch had blown open and it started bleeding again. So Granny popped me into the pickup and off we went to Vernon, which was about 40 miles away. And at that point, the doctor in the emergency room there, he's seen it, he says, "Well, let's see what we can do here." And so he started fluttering around, and I moved over to Granny and I couldn't talk. And I could see her just getting madder by the minute. And I could see her just getting madder, and she was starting to get red in the face. And then all of a sudden, she just blew up. And poor doctor's just sitting there and just shriveling there as she just kind of got into him, just like a mother bear looking after a cub. And finally, she let him go, and he did finish up. And she took me back, and we loaded up the horses, and off we went. And it was snowing, and we had to go to the back roads in, and I'm panicking about getting back, and panicking about having this thing not bleed anymore. And so we stopped in Redding. We finally got into California there, and she got me a milkshake, and just took care of me the whole way. And I'll never forget that. And she's always been there for me, and a number of things, but that's just one memory I've had of her, and something I'll always treasure.
Okay, I got married end of March, and in the middle of May, I moved in next door to my granny and my papa, and I learned how to be a wife from my grandma, who taught me how to cook, who taught me how to wash my clothes and make sure they weren't wrinkled, and who always had the missing ingredient for every meal I ever cooked, and even tasted my baking soda cookies when I put a cup in instead of a teaspoon. And how even the burnt one, she said, next time it'll be better. But I never appreciated her as much in my life as I did in the past couple months when she was right next door. And she taught me how to garden, and I still killed everything. But she made me potatoes, which I thought was the coolest thing ever, because I didn't know you could grow potatoes. You just bought them in a bag at the store or got them from Mom's house. Or from Granny's house. And I was happy to be with her and to hang out with her every afternoon and sit in the sun with her while her hair dried. And to just sit in the living room and watch TV and wonder why that was loud on TV. And I'm happy with the memories I have with my granny. Because she's not grandma, not grandmother, she's granny. Just like old granny and fat granny, she's granny. And she's one of my favorite people. And I'm so glad that so many people knew her and got to know her.
Hi, my name is Melva Donaghy, and every Christmas we'd all pick names out of a hat, and we'd all meet up at Emma was in my Uncle Jimmy's, and we'd all get to open one present and we'd watch The Grinch That Stole Christmas. I remember every time after church, I think it was Wednesday nights, we'd go and have Huggy night, and Aunt Melva made the best pickles ever. I couldn't wait to get there. Many times we'd make our own homemade ice cream. I remember she'd tell me if I turned it up long enough and fast enough, that's how quick I'd get my ice cream. So I'd be out there working away on that thing. She was beautiful, and I loved her, and thank you for all being here.
I'm Melva Donaghy, and I've always had my nose stuck in a book. And when I was in college, Granny used to call me on the weekends. And she told me to stop studying and stop reading and go out and spend time with my friends. Because that's where life was.